Hello, everybody. Welcome to Joe's Bar. We are now open. I hope you guys haven't missed us too tremendously. We haven't done this in a bit. It's been a while. I think absence makes the heart grow fonder, though. So I'm really excited to bring it back and bring it open because I've got an eclectic, beautiful group of people here who are going to just shine for an hour, and I'm hoping because I don't have a whole lot other to talk about than them. So we'll we'll figure it out as we go along. But welcome. Hopefully you're in the chat and you're ready to go. And if you guys got any questions, any comments, we'll share them as we go along. You're as much a part of this event as anything else. And let's bring in the people who we're going to be chatting with directly here. And so I'm going to start with the one and only Miss J.K. Allen.
Hello,
Julia.
How are you?
Good. Tell everybody about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Julia. I write as J.K. Allen. I write primarily young adult urban fantasy, but I do dabble in other genres like poetry and horror. I am also the president and head editor for Three Furies Press.
Awesome. It's awesome. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, but I wanted to bring everybody else in, and here right now is Mr. Jinakubo, live from Japan, where it's probably, 9 a.m. there?
It is actually 10 a.m.
10 a.m. I was close.
Oh, yeah, you were close.
Without doing the calculator, I was close. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Jin.
Right. My name is Jin Okubo. I'm an author for urban fantasy and love romance, but I'm also, from this year, started my own film company, Jin Okubo Films, and we're currently working on our feature, The Line, and I have other films coming in. I'm an indie film producer, director, and cameraman.
You do it all.
I do it all.
Wears all the hats, yeah.
As you would in an indie production. Speaking of beautiful indies, we have Mr. Joshua Panatello. Let's go. Hello, Josh.
Hey, Joe. What's up?
Hey, well, welcome. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
So I write stuff and podcast too. I'm currently moving. This is why you're seeing this tornado in the background right now. I'm just getting rid of stuff and getting ready to go. I write books. I do a podcast. My next book is my first novel, my fourth book called The Cloud Diver. It is a pulp sci-fi adventure. I do poetry. I do comics. I accidentally do stuff like board games. And I have a podcast called Just Joshing, which airs twice a week, usually Tuesday and Friday. This one might be a little late this week, but I've done over 300 episodes. I am a two-time Aurora Award finalist for my 5-time winner.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Welcome to the show. And you had mentioned that there was also a tornado going on outside, which is crazy.
It feels like it anyway, man. It's nuts.
We'll talk about that here in a little bit.
And it was winning.
and bringing in the sexy and late Brian Tan, the man, Mr. Brian Tan.
Yeah,
hello, Brian.
I'm dancing. This is the only way I can dance and keep the beat. So, what's going on, everybody? I'm Brian Tan. I write books and podcast and crap like that. I am the co-host of the Plotaholics podcast with the Shane Wilson. Film review from the author's point of view. I am also an fiction author. That's the best way I can put it, because I write a little bit of everything, because this big melon on the top of my neck has too many worlds in it, which is why I'm probably half insane. I've got 2 series that will be re-released with Random Evolved Media, one being the John Baker Chronicles, the spinoff to Kendra Salder's Permutation Archives, first book being Invincible Heart. And I'm also the author of the urban urban paranormal fantasy series, The Path of Redemption, with book 1 being The Enforcer, as well as erotic crime thriller Ed and Livy, and all other kinds of crazy crap.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Before we get into everything, I'll just because I believe I'm the only one really drinking here tonight, but
We need Isa and her cocktails.
Yeah,
this,
really.
This is my beer of choice tonight. Jack Porter English Style Ale from the Jackrabbit Brewing Company in Sacramento, California. They are independent certified, so I'm real excited to feature them, and I'll give you guys all a review of that on our Instagram channel in our indie beer review tomorrow morning. So look for that. And otherwise, we're just going to have some fun and hang out and talk whatever we want to talk about. Yeah, one of the things I want to talk about is that we're kind of all in this flux where we're moving around, which is very interesting. We're doing it all in different ways. I mean, Josh is physically moving from one city to another. Brian is moving from one publisher to another. Jen is moving from books to movies, and Julia moved from being part of a publishing company to another publishing company, and now she's kind of if I can, I mean, you kind of pronounced this yesterday on your Facebook that you're in a relationship and now you're moving into it. So I think we're all kind of moving around a little bit. It's kind of interesting how that is a different dynamic for each of us. Anybody want to talk about their experiences so far?
Very uncertain. It's crazy. When Burning Willow Press closed its doors back in August, September-ish, it was very, very disheartening. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then, Random Evolved Media showed up with Richard Pruitt basically saying, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. You're one of the authors I want to work with. So I'm kind of at a wait and see point because I had recently switched publishers earlier this year. Right. So I'm going 2 publisher switches in less than a year. So it's very interesting. Especially
that happens a lot. I mean, that's not unheard of.
I know that it's unheard of for me.
Right. Sure.
And then I have people saying, "Oh, well, you write? What do you write? Is your stuff on Amazon?" I went to Amazon and none of your books are there. Yeah. See, what had happened was, yeah.
One of the cool things about where you're moving to is you're moving with Kendra, so you guys continue your partnership.
Absolutely. Kendra and I made this decision when we first partnered up that no matter where we went, we're going to still be partnered up and we're going to do our thing together because literally my writing career in a lot of ways will always be tied to Kendra and Ed and Burning Willow Press as a whole, just like my indie career is always going to be tied in with them, with you, Joe, with Shane Wilson, and with Rent. So there are people in the industry that my career is always going to be, the professional end of it is always going to be tied to. So, and I won't let business get in the way with that because, there's people that, I mean, come on, Joe, you're coming to my wedding. So
Ohana means family.
What is it? What's the word?
Ohana means family.
Ohana.
I just feel like that's the perfect phrase for this moment.
Yeah. And Brian and I have some plans to do some things. We were just talking about it yesterday. We could probably go into it a little bit, but not much. We're in the early stages of developing something that he and I for Going Down Network, and so we're excited about that.
As am I.
I can't. I have all my comments here, but for some reason I can't see the Facebook comments. So I have Facebook up, luckily, to grab the comments. And one of the commenters was Rebecca Jonesy, and she wanted to hear about your movie, Jen. So tell everybody about the movie you're currently working on.
The movie I'm currently working on is The Line, right here, and cups right here. It's a thriller. I don't want to give too much away about it, but basically, the 2-minute plug is a serial killer comes to a small town and brings them the joy of what a serial killer does. It is on the lines of almost like Suspect Zero, in that sense. But the huge twist in the end is the internal connection that the FBI agent that's searching for the killer has with the killer. That's an integral connection between them both, and that drives the whole plot of the film. I'm filming it the way that I'm filming it because of resources are a big issue, and this is my first film that I've I'm taking to full feature length of an hour and a half, and I'm filming it in Japan. So I have to make Japan look like the U.S. It's like a U.S. mountain town. So location scouting is the big thing, and making sure that Japanese signs don't pop up out of random. There is one Japanese sign that pops up at random, but I'm leaving it in just because I want. I like small flaws in my work. In fact, one of my current films right now, I pissed off Joe a lot.
I would say a lot. There was not a lot of pissing off. When you explained it, I was okay with it.
When I explained it, but before I explained it, Joe was a little bit upset. Let's say that. So I like to.
I was just baffled by it, but yeah.
I like to add these little twerks here and there. And basically, I'm filming this film. The shortest film filmed to date has been filmed for full feature. Has been filmed in 9 days. If I add up all my filming time, I'm filming this feature film in about 6 days.
Jeez.
So
and I've read the script for everybody out there, and I can tell you, if you're a fan of like, it's kind of how I would describe it is Hell or High Water meets Seven in a respect.
Ooh. What's in the box?
Right?
It's centric on the serial killer aspect. I don't know if Jim might have played with this a little bit, but when I read the script, it was still a short, but it was a longer short, and the aspect was that there was an aspect of the serial killer, and then there was an aspect of everything else going on around it, which I thought was very clever, and that's. Basically, Hell or High Water is very similar to that idea. It's not in the same vein, although I do imagine this somewhere in like the middle of both Texas or somewhere.
Yeah. I would give you that. Yeah,
in New Mexico or something like that. But yeah, I just and from the scene I've seen, it looks like it's gonna be like that.
You'll have to.
I have a map of the U.S. and you do see this in the film, so this does tell you where the crimes are happening.
Okay.
If you're very attentive to that scene, it's tells you exactly the pattern that's happening. You do see the film, so this does tell you where.
I just like the fact that you're making Japan look like South Park.
Well, you'll have to watch out for the speed limit signs, because I remember watching a K-pop video and all the comments from the dumb Americans were like, why is it 85 miles per hour in the city? It's kilometers, guys.
Things like that are not in my film. Those kind of mistakes won't be in my film. The mistakes that will be in my film, the ones that are intentional, are there to aggravate people more than anything else.
Way to troll the trolls, baby.
But the story itself, like this is something that I can give away that it is centric around what's happening around the serial killer and the FBI agent, but they are not the grand scheme of the story. The grand scheme of the story, even though that is the getting the killer, getting getting the serial killer to be what he is, and getting the FBI agent to capture the killer is in there. But the grand scheme of the story is not really, and this is where I tweaked it a little bit, Joe, is not really based around that individual anymore.
Okay.
It is the main part of the story, and it is what we're paying attention to. But the angle that I'm taking on even now, the angle that I shifted the angle a little bit to the left, if in perspective wise, going towards basically, in fact, to clear it up even better, I'm killing Mayberry.
Woo! Take that, Aunt B. You finally got yours.
Without giving anything away, I'm killing Mayberry.
Nice.
Killing Barney Fife? Are you starting with Barney Fife?
I don't think we heard you.
Mayberry. I know I heard him. I just can't say anything.
All I know is this: that if you do, I would hope that some NWA is playing in the background.
I still have not done the soundtrack yet. In fact, tomorrow I'm doing. This is how crazy it is, guys. Last weekend I filmed 2 days because something got shifted, right? So I filmed one scene on Saturday morning, which my time got shifted. Originally, I was supposed to have the whole morning to go in there, set up, and film for a 5 to 10 minute scene. Then I got shifted all the way down to like 6:30 in the morning. So that had to be moved, and I had to call the actors and apologize and say you have to show up at this time here. Then on the Sunday, I filmed one of the longest scenes, which was around another 15-minute scene to 20-minute scene, right? That after editing, it gets cut down to 10 minutes, right? But you guys need to understand, like, there's one scene that's 2.5 minutes long that took me 8 hours to film.
Good Lord.
So tomorrow is a full day of filming.
All right.
A complete full day of filming, and I'm filming a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes tomorrow. And the good thing is they're all in the same location. That's why I grouped them all together for efficiency, right? And this is something that's really cool, and I don't even know if it's just I'm lucky or not. It's rained almost every single day that I've been filming. But during the filming time, it's become sunny.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
lucky.
And I need it to be sunny. And as soon as I finished filming, it started raining again.
Can I have your luck here right now? That'd be great.
Knock on wood. So,
Well, if
but
you were in
it's-
Philadelphia, it would always be sunny.
Oh,
yes, it would.
But it's better in Pittsburgh.
Ba-dum.
But yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm filming this film. Tomorrow I'm going in to do one of the pivotal moments of the film. It's where the tension shifts. If it was a song, it's the bridge, you know.
Ooh.
So that's awesome, man. That's really cool. So I mean, and people don't know you've produced 3 short films so far over the last year and a half, at least, maybe sooner than that. But that's amazing that you're doing that. It's awesome that you're calling for it.
That's
And
awesome output. Yeah.
This is my first feature film, which I'm having a red carpet treatment for my actors next year at a movie theater, which I have to pay out of my pocket. That's henceforth the shirt. You know, order your shirts from me and order a cup. You know, it's costing me an arm and a leg, and I've already given my arm. So basically,
I've seen you have one hand on screen.
It's like, I give up my arm. I want your leg. Buy the shirt.
Basically. But no, the movie theater is great working with the film commission that's helping me out here is very grateful. They got me a couple of good deals. I wish they would have helped me with a lot more, but there's the way they help films out is you have to spend something around $10,000 to $15,000, and then after that they will refinance you and give you back 10% of your money. My film is not costing me that much, even though it's costing me quite a bit. I'm hoping to make it back in ticket sales for that first live debut. I need 400 ticket sales to make the money back, which is something, you know, I've calculated the numbers for one showing out of 100 people, so I need 4 showings minimum. And after the red carpet treatment, it's going to come out in Amazon Prime, and it's going to go worldwide.
That was going to be my next question. Is this going to be on Amazon Prime like the short?
All my films are going to be on Amazon Prime, available for everybody. Let's see. There's a comment in there.
Hi, Mike. By the way, hello.
Mike Feria.
Yeah.
So there's a couple people out there asking me about our secret project, Ryan. Do you think it's okay to talk about?
I think so. Yeah, sure.
I mean,
Let's talk about it.
It's gonna make us commitment to do it. You know
Let's
that.
give them something to talk about.
So Brian and I have been talking a lot lately about one of the things that we don't cover, and Josh will be really excited about this, I think. One of the things that, and Jin might be too because he's old school, but one of the things that we haven't covered in the indie world quite a bit of, and I know that this will probably separate a lot of people too, especially in the chat. But something that Brian and I have an affinity for is indie wrestling, and so
Nice. Yes.
So Brian and I have been talking about doing a show. We've kind of come up with a concept. It's going to be probably a monthly show. We've kind of worked it out to how it could be a monthly show, even though it probably should more likely be a weekly show. But neither of us have the time or inclination to kind of. As I told Brian, if I did another weekly show like that, you would probably after 4 months find me in the fetal position in the corner somewhere. So I don't want to take that opportunity, but we're going to do kind of a monthly rundown, and we're only going to do indie-centric promotions. We're not going to cover the big guy like WWE or AEW, and I consider AEW the big guy.
They kind of are, yeah. But
yeah, AEW is definitely a big guy, but when we talk about indie, we're talking about Ring of Honor, which is
and something.
Like,
well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Because if WWE is WWE,
yeah,
AEW is sort of taking the role of WCW as their kind of a strong number two. Ring of Honor is essentially what ECW was.
And what sparked this for me and what brought this on is that NWA is back and they're doing a weekly show on YouTube for free for an hour.
That's actually a really fun show.
It's really great. If you're a fan of WCW Saturday nights or AWA from ESPN, you'll love this show. It's exactly what you're looking for.
And to give some of our viewers the idea of the old AWA on ESPN, I'm not just talking about the Rock and Roll Express here. I'm talking about back when Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac, was the Cannonball Kid or the Kamikaze Kid. The Lightning Bolt Kid.
Yeah,
and every time you see him on there, it's like, who is this 100-pound weak? Wow, he can deliver. Look at him.
And when Kurt Hennig was Kurt Hennig, he
wasn't just Mr. Perfect.
Wait, are you gonna be talking about just about the wrestling? Or are you gonna talk about the background of the characters? For example, I would love to see something on the Junkyard Dog, stuff like that. The Warrior. The Warrior would be great.
We're not gonna go old school unless we get I would love to get Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson on the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, I would love to talk to those.
Yeah, but the idea for Brian and I was that we were going to do. It's going to be essentially a similar show to what we do now in terms of I was going to get somebody to interview. We're going to do an interview, Brian and I together. We're going to call it the tag team interview, and we're going to tag team an interviewer, talk to a wrestler about their craft, about kayfabe and everything that they're doing. And
got them started.
Can I make a request for an interview? Can I make a request?
Sure.
I'm a big fan of. I actually am a big fan of Rosemary from Impact Wrestling.
And she just joined NWA, so I'm real excited. I'm real excited too.
Yeah, no, she is to me she's one of the more. I'm a big fan of both her and Allie as Demon X Bunny. Now I know because Allie's in AEW, you can't get her. Yeah, but Rosemary is an amazing storyteller. I really actually dig how she actually does some of the things she comes up with. She's definitely very imaginative. I would say she's on my list of people I want to interview from my podcast. Actually, so
if we hook it up, I'll get you up there. But
now, what sucks for me is that I'm coming back to the product because I didn't jive with TNA and WWF. I refuse to call them WWE. WWF has soured me over the last 10 years.
I want to throw an analogy back at you guys because I actually had this thought. I just stopped watching AEW recently and versus WWE. I think you have it in reverse. I think AEW is like the WWE Attitude Era, and I think actually WWE now is WCW.
I heard Dwayne The Rock Johnson is making a comeback as well into it.
Yeah. Well, another thing I want to add before I'll get into your point, Josh, here in a second. But the one thing I want to add along with what we're trying to do also is, like what I do with indie authors and indie filmmakers and musicians, I'm going to try and get our audience familiar with promotions that are not televised promotions. So each month we'll feature a non-televised promotion We already have one lined up for our first show. I can't talk about that, but we're going to, because we all live in areas where there are promotions that you know of, where you can go to a Saturday night show in the gym and watch them. And these guys are guys that you're going to know. At least one of them is going to come out of that system and become, part of the lexicon of wrestling. Hopefully, that's usually the statistic.
Right.
And so we're going to feature those promotions as well. As far as your point goes, Josh, I think AEW is more of what the territories were in terms of before they were on TV kind of things, like Southern Smoky Mountain Wrestling and stuff. It was all about the wrestling in that
And
respect.
that's what I love.
WWE has always been about the entertainment. They've always had like that over the top glorious entertainment factor, which is great.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I know nothing about wrestling other than my mom used to watch it when I was little.
They wear Speedos.
She was like, "Oh, exciting!" Men fighting
Is it
on screen.
homoerotic? Yeah, probably.
Right, but there's this TV show my sister watched called Glow. That's like
I love Glow.
women wrestling.
Yeah. When
I was
grew up,
wondering what you guys thought of that show.
Are you talking? Oh, the Netflix show. I love it.
Netflix is the original.
She watched the Netflix show. I didn't realize there was an original.
Yeah, the original Glow took place in the mid to late 80s into the early 90s. As a matter of fact, they did an episode of Married with Children where Al wrestled Big Bad Mama. I loved the original Glow.
I
love the original.
Jen and I are going to wax nostalgic here for a second because Jen grew up in the area that I grew up in, and Glow was on right before. I don't know if you had public access, Jen, or not, but on public access TV for us here where we grew up in California, it was Glow at 11.
California, Joe.
It was Glow at 11:05, and then it was Wally George at 12:05. And then it was like punk. There was like a punk rock music show at like 1:05, and I was always religiously into that on Saturday nights. I love that.
See, I watched Glow.
I didn't watch the punk because when at 1 o'clock around in the morning, I was shifted over to the Japanese channel.
Oh, nice! Yeah.
No. Everyone's thinking like, oh, the Japanese channel, all cute. No, because they had at that time in Japan, they had this guy. They would do music. They would do some news. They would bring in this guy with like slick back hair and dark sunglasses, and this held on until 2004. And this guy would sit there, and he would review porn.
Woo.
They wouldn't show anything. But he would sit there and review porn.
Wow.
And this was on local TV.
You're what, 10, 11 when you're watching this show?
Yeah.
How does one review porn?
They wouldn't show anything. Like they would blur out, the parts because at that time it was and it still is illegal to show certain parts in Japan, but they would blur out stuff, right?
I think he could have held out a little bit longer in that one shot.
I have to say, the young lady worked really hard in this scene, but if she would have lifted her left knee.
Well, see, this is the thing that happened though. And this is something that Joe and maybe Brian would understand from our generation. Porn from the 80s, 70s, 80s was not about sex. There was a storyline there.
Yes. There was. I mean, I'm not saying that I watch it all the time and that
there was a storyline there, and the thing was, the sex was like, it was like they had to make excuses for the guy to want to have sex. Like, he would be like, hello, my car broke down. Let me fix it with my wrench. Here, let's have sex. Okay. Kind of thing, right? Or there was one where, there was one that I particularly loved because I was raised in the Santa Barbara Mountains, which was the Cowboys one. Like, don't sleep with my daughters. I promise her I would never touch your daughters. I'm a man of honor. Don't worry about it. And then the guy walks around, hello. And the girl's like, hey.
It was always the ones that I always gravitated to was the plumber visiting the lonely house.
Oh God! Wow, Joe's bar has gone off the rails. We've gone from wrestling to porn. I love it. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do it.
Low for this one reason because I think I just wanted to relate to Jin in one respect because we're Southern California kids, and I knew he would know who Wally George was. So
fair enough.
And I did have public access, Joe, because that's where I also watched my favorite painter in the world.
Oh God, no! Don't tell me you were a Bob Ross guy.
Oh hell yeah! The little trees are nice and happy here. Don't you dare tell anybody about the trees. They're our secrets.
I remember when Bob Ross used to come on like after Mr. Rogers here on WQED.
I never liked Mr. Rogers. I never did. I watched it, but I never really liked him.
How dare you? Fred Rogers is a world treasure.
It was the shoes. Taking off the shoes and putting on the shoes. Coming from California, you never took off your shoes until you were going to go to bed because you got those little we used to call them goat heads. These little like stickers. They would basically this plant that was flat on the ground, and they would grow these little stickers which looked like little goat head. And it was just like 3 barbs that would just stick up like that. And if you walked around barefoot, those were going into your feet.
No, man, come from like Asian household, no shoes in the house, like sacrilege.
No shoes in the house.
In Pittsburgh,
no shoes in the house.
Yep. See, as soon as I get home from being outside, my shoes came off, and the only reason why I wore shoes outside was because there was if there was glass or rocks or something. But most of the time, I walk around with no shoes on. I wear a size 14 and a half shoe. You really think I want to be wearing shoes? Hell no.
Come on, you wore a 14.5 size shoe at what, 10 years old? No.
Actually, no. When I was 10, I was wearing a size 10 in the men's. Jeez. By the time I was 13, I was in a size 13 shoe.
Yeah, you had a special order, didn't you?
For some, yeah.
Once you get past,
my friend's feet were that huge too, and he had a special order his shoes.
I wish I were taller, man, because with these feet, I should be taller.
Yeah, you should be 9 feet
tall.
You
should be a swimmer. Just go swimming.
Yeah, but I'm too fat to swim. I sink like a stone.
You should float.
Well, see, there you go. There you go. That gives you the incentive to exercise. Sink or die.
We did have a writing question, but I don't think
there's a writing question? Holy crap.
Where?
We've been talking about porn and wrestling and me dying.
Storytelling. All storytelling.
Yeah, there you go.
NaNoWriMo.
I'm doing NaNoWriMo.
First time, Julia?
No. Well, okay. So, like, every year, November comes around, and I'm like, should I do it? Should I not do it? And then I'm like, I'm not really going to do it, but I'm going to say I'm going to do it, and I'm going to go on the website and, like, put down my title and fill everything out, and then, like, I write, like, 10,000 words, and I'm like... I failed, right?
Do you have a ton of friends already? Do you have a lot of people that you're attached?
I do not, but
so give everybody your name so they can friend you now.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, I think I'm just probably like Julia Assi or something. Julia SSI. But on Three Furious Press on our Facebook, we have a Facebook group. So I will be doing writing sprints and doing stuff for NaNoWriMo all month on our group. So join our group. Woo!
There's a certain editor of ours in the chat who would like me to probably participate in those writing sprints.
Yes. There's another editor right here pointing their finger at you saying, you have a publishing schedule, mister.
Jeez. I'm glad I didn't I was too scared to come to Three Furies. Now I know I'm safe because Brian, why aren't you writing? I don't know. I'm blocked. I don't know what to do.
Well, Rebecca will come at you with a cattle prod and be like,
ow.
Whoa.
Like
my ass is.
I have not experienced the cattle prod yet, so I'm.
Yeah, I'm still young. So
if anyone wants to join me, basically last year I did something during the New Year's holiday where I stayed awake for about 20-something hours drinking and writing a screenplay. I was live on Facebook, I was live on YouTube, and I was just drinking and typing away. And
it was pretty cool when he got drunker. It was much more interesting.
Yeah, I started to lose it. I started to lose it, and then I passed out somewhere around like 3 or 2 in the morning.
And then the cat and the mouse raised a pig.
I will say, if you're on the fence about doing NaNoWriMo, I would say like just sign up and do it and like find somebody to do word sprints with, because getting any words down is better than none. So like even if you only get 10,000 words done, and you're like, don't view it as like, I failed NaNoWriMo. View it as like 10,000 words. Yeah.
I'm so blocked right now. I can't.
Cheers to Mike Feria for the 1,800 words word head start. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I will give everybody the perfect way to win NaNoWriMo right now. And the idea came from my friend back when I was in junior high school. He was told to write an essay by the teacher because he got in trouble. And the teacher said, write me a 5-page essay. And he did this. He said, conversation between two turkeys. Turkey 1, gobble, 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 about 3 pages. Turkey 2, gobble, 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 gobble. There you go. You can read those words.
I will say, this is a hack that makes you want to die inside, but it really works.
I do that.
Right? Brian, I'm telling you, in Comic Sans font.
Really?
Like you feel like the devil.
That's
you
gross.
feel like the devil the entire time. You're just like, oh my God, why am I doing this to the world? Right? I'm subjecting my eyes to this horror. But it like you get the words down. Like I was blocked for like a month, could not write a word. And I saw this like meme that was like, try Comic Sans. I'm telling you, it's the worst, but it works. And I wrote 10,000 words.
Josh,
I'll try that. Because I started working on the 3rd John Baker book in August, and I'm completely blocked. And then I started working. Right. I started working on a spinoff to the Bryce Creed books, completely blocked. So I'll try it.
Yeah, I heard it's because like it's a dyslexic friendly font. Like just the way the font is designed, it's easier for your mind to just read over it quickly without getting into mechanics of thinking.
Okay, I'll give it a
look. That'd be pretty cool.
So
what are you saying, Josh?
So for me, I handwrite. This is my pen, by the way. It's unicorn pen.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, show that again.
That looks like a bowl, bro.
Where's the pin? Where's the pin? Oh, it comes out of the ass. Okay.
Whoa, dude.
That's right. Well, so 3 things are happening. I'm moving. I officially hit Vancouver around November 12th, give or take a couple days. So that's going to be my priority when I get started. I handwrite all my stuff. I find that when I write, I find it's like using a different part of your brain. So my first drafts are always now handwritten. So I don't officially. I don't enter at NaNoWriMo. Unofficially, I have a YA novel. It's about 80,000 words. And it's on my 3rd notebook. So it's a mess. I don't really care. It's a mess. NaNoWriMo isn't about getting it right this month, but my goal is by December 1st to get that done. Also, at the same time, launching my first novel in the same month. So I'm moving, launching a novel, and finishing draft of another novel in the same month because I'm crazy. And so
welcome to the club.
But no. I the reason I don't join NaNoWriMo is just because when I just handwrite, like for me, I know I'm getting it because when the minimum when I sit down and write this novel is like 10 to 15 pages every time. Like it's one of those stories that's been in my head for a long time, and it's like really clear, like start to finish. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure when I read this, it's going to be, why did I go on this tangent here? But that's what editing's for, right? So it's one of those things where I find like for me, what I do is NaNoWriMo officially, I do not enter it. Unofficially, I'm going to try to have an Instagram post of me just like showing the whole notebooks, like cover to cover finished, right? And I did right on the interior, and you might see some random gibberish here and there. Maybe I'll just put a line like a page. This page is intentionally gibberish or somewhere in there, but see if people catch it. But what I have found, like for me to get like real sprints, is I get away from my computer altogether. I'm not publishing, but I'm finishing one and publishing another, right? But it's one of those things where I just find for me, if I want the abundance, because I'm always podcasting, I work full time, and I'm always like, and again, I'm trying to move at the same time, which right this minute, I find that when I'm handwriting, there's no distractions, and I can go straight into wherever I'm at. And again, it's almost like when I get to the typing part, I've done instead of a first draft, I've done like a 1.5 draft, which is actually because I've done some editing already. And then obviously when when it's on the computer, that's when you go into like deeper drafts about editing and figuring out getting rid of your bad habits and all that other fun stuff. But my first draft is, I like it best when it's secretly 2 drafts. I find that works better for me. So
I'm gonna try something this time around. I'm not doing NaNoWriMo either. I have a book to finish and it needs to be done.
Yeah, you about to get a cattle prod.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Joe.
Wait, Joe,
But,
are we still waiting for you?
Yeah. What's that? What do you say, Jin?
Are we still waiting for you to release that book?
Yeah. It's gonna be March of 2020, by the way. If I can get my shit together.
I'm writing it down, Joe. I'm writing it down.
Well, yeah, and Rebecca and them are holding me to it, so there's nothing you can.
Yeah. Josie already says she got a cattle prod ready for you.
I know.
Yeah, Josie said that.
But I'm trying something that our mutual friend Josh Jonah Saw suggested to me. Something that he does, and I'm going to try it for this next time around, which is as soon as my last round of edits go out and I'm done handling this book and it goes into the publisher hand, and the publisher hand's going to do whatever they're going to do from that point forward, and I don't have anything to do with that. I'm going to pick up and write and start writing the next book. And then he essentially does that in a cycle like that, and he's been very successful at it. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be as successful as Jonas Saul. I don't think there's many people who can be. He's just a well.
I'm going to say something I've learned like in the last year. Just keep yourself open to success. Like wherever it comes from, however it is, right? Who knows? I mean, no, I mean this. Like, it's not. I saw a quote the other day. People not as talented as you are exactly where you want to be because they believe in themselves more. I think it's actually a very, very true statement. A lot of people tend to look at what they have. Joe, I haven't read your first book because I haven't seen your first book, but you work your ass off on this. I mean, I've seen how hard you work on this.
Yeah.
Writing is probably really, really good. You're probably really, really good. And I'm not.
Well, there's a lot.
All the shows he does.
That's my
so
point.
I'm so impressed with Joe. I mean, like,
yeah.
I do a book review for Go Indie Now once a month, and that's hard for me. And Joe's sitting there editing. He's like, let me do my 7th show for the month,
That's like, I get it. Like, you've been focusing on your other media, but let's be honest. If you put half the effort you put into your shows, into your book, just half, it's going to be a great book, right? And like,
I spent a year making. In a year I made 4 films, and I can tell you, none of you will ever see any of them because they're terrible. So it doesn't necessarily.
All right,
now you
wanna
gotta start releasing them movies.
I gotta say this though.
Wrong,
Anita made a comment a while back that I think is good to talk about, and why I say to do sprints. Anita said she breaks it into chunks. So the goal is basically breaks down 50,000 words a month. You can do it writing 1667 words a day. So that may sound like a lot, but if you do like the Pomodoro technique and break it down into sprints, you get a lot more writing done than you would know. Like 20 minutes, just write as fast as you can, take a 10-minute break, set that timer again, and do it with a partner so you can like compete.
Don't
like
do it
that's
with me
totally how you get those words down.
If you do it with me, we'll shift it to drinking somehow.
Okay.
There we go. We do not need to watch Party for those movies, trust me.
All I'm saying, like, Joe, there's no way, like, there's something that's very wise. Like, none of us can control what the end result is going to be.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Right. But
yeah,
you can do everything, but you can be
open.
Doing
it is half the battle, right? That's basically what you guys are saying.
Well, just say be open to that possibility, because you never know, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. So so I made a dark pact with Pat Flelling I was at CanCon in Ottawa, going for the second award. I didn't win, but here was the deal: if I do ever win a second Aurora award, I have to because right.
Do you have to be in the schoolgirl outfit to do it?
Yes.
No.
Awesome.
Yes.
Don't shave your legs.
I will not.
No, he has to shave his legs.
No, I want cacti, baby. I want straight up cacti.
I want pigtails. I want the whole 9.
You have to show the bare midriff too. Shave that smooth.
Right.
Shave it smooth. Oh my God.
Mike, you should make that like a reward for writing. Like if you have a weakness that like you're like, oh my God, I have to like play this video game, or I really want to read this book or watch this movie. Like say if I write 1,000 words today, then I'm gonna play this game for an hour. And like that'll like motivate you to write and give you positive reinforcement so you get good feelings when you're writing and you'll be likely to write more.
Is this a true statement here, Julia? Be open to the
This
possibility of
is.
Shadow Prod.
I mean, have you never read my blog, Joe? I talk about this stuff all the time. Like your brain, your brain needs like these little tricks to get into writing mode sometimes. And like positive reinforcement is like such a big trick to be like, I like writing because I get happy endorphins at the end because I eat a fucking tub of ice cream. You know, like
I can't do that.
Well, what you can do, Brian, is you can say, like, I love writing because at the end I get a big pile of broccoli.
That is true. I do like broccoli.
Fat
Man like broccoli.
Eat your broccoli, play your games, whatever you got to do, but like get that positive reinforcement.
That's awesome. Tub of ice cream. Some people might think something. Your mother hasn't asked you about that if you're eating a tub of ice cream, because my wife eats a tub of ice cream. My mother-in-law is on her like white on rice. She's like,
"What's wrong?" Yeah, she's like sobbing.
Is it time? Are you
wow.
Are you going to make an announcement right here, right now? Are you going to tell us that you're pregnant? That's what she says every time.
No, I ain't getting nobody. I
just enjoy ice cream, man.
That's all right. Now, Brian took a trip to the pound, and now he doesn't chase the other puppies anymore. Okay, ain't nobody getting pregnant on my watch, and if they are, I'm suing the hell out of somebody.
Yes, Anita. Yes, Anita.
I was going to ask you, Brian. So, when you get your target weight, are you going to be more careful about your alcohol intake, or are you going to celebrate?
My future brother-in-law had some words for that too. However, after everything is done, we are going to go to a bar, and I will be cheating. Oh, I'm drinking. I'm going to act a damn fool because, hey, I already told Sharon, look, this is the second time I've done this. I've already lied to myself. So if you ain't happy, we just going to be living in misery. So we're going to stay married. It's just we're going to have to get a big enough place that we can have separate rooms and not be around each other. Because I ain't getting a divorce again. I ain't signing nothing. You just going to have to kill me. I'm part Irish. I know how to live in misery. Okay.
Wait. So you're not going to have a bachelor party?
Oh, no, I'm having a bachelor party.
But you're not drinking at the bachelor party.
I don't know. I haven't decided on. However, the bachelor party is actually going to be the week before the wedding because Sharon's afraid that it'll be a hangover situation. Well, considering who's going to be coming into town, we're going to have Joe Compton, Shane Wilson, Ed Souter, my brother-in-law, basically every dude I know, plus my two uncles. I will get lost somewhere in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh may not be as big as Vancouver, but there's a hell of a lot of places for my big ass to get lost.
And all I know is that somebody else better be the Zach Galifianakis character because I can't do the math with the.
Joe,
you can't take the punch from Mike Tyson.
No, I can do that.
Get him a tattoo on his face, Joe. Get him a tattoo on his face.
Oh, Joe, I hear we're having some technical difficulties.
What?
Somebody's watching. They said the window's blurry.
Everything's so
Whose window's blurry?
Like from Joe's end, it's blurry.
Joe,
you're blurry, Joe.
Is your hat messing up the screen again because it's too awesome?
Yeah, probably. I don't think I'm blurry, but
maybe they're drinking along with Joe and they're drinking along with Joe and they're starting to see 2, double, triple, and now it's blurry.
We can't
slow down with the drinking. Slow down with the drinking. We
can't have that many Joes on screen. The internet is not ready for such awesomeness.
I just had this really fun idea. Joe's bar, just 5 Joes, different points.
That would be terrible.
Sober Joe.
That'd be
But
such
he's
a
got to
terrible
wear a
idea.
different
Actually,
hat for each
if anyone out there is good with video editing and has
Because it's
time,
good
just go
now.
through all of Joe's bars and cut out everyone else and just put in Joe's.
There you go.
Joe, he
Hi.
says it's good now.
Hi, I'm Joe Compton, and I'm Joe Compton, and I'm Joe Compton. And then one of the 5 Joe Comptons has to have dreadlocks.
Yes.
Hey man, I'm the Joe Compton.
That's right.
And they have to sync at the same time where they all go, "Welcome to Joe's bar" at the
Actually,
same time.
Here's the part that would weird people out. Different hairstyles, same hat. Just the same hat. Every time, right? They're just completely mess it up, right? It's like, wait.
And one of the Joes has to have Leia's haircut from A New Hope.
Yes.
That's possible
One of
with
them.
video editing.
That's so we have
Joe.
regular
Wait,
Joe.
just a haircut.
Well,
not
you
the-
have to have Rambo Joe.
Yeah.
Rambo Joe.
Yeah, Rambo Joe has to be a thing.
So we have regular Joe, Leia Joe, Rambo Joe, Bob Marley Joe, and finally
Okay. I had Yoda Joe.
Brett,
but we'll go with it.
Brett Scallion Joe.
No. Finally, we have to go back to the classics from Joe's youth and go with Max Headroom Joe.
So,
Welcome to Joe's bar.
Joe's bar.
Joe,
Yeah.
you now have a Christmas episode.
I would watch that show weekly. I would watch that show all the time. You would have to put that on DVD and Blu-ray, just like Foamy the Squirrel.
Yes.
Oh, Foamy the Squirrel. I got into it. I had to unfollow that channel on YouTube because it killed so much hours from me. It's short, but you just got to keep watching it.
I haven't watched Foamy in so many years. I think I'm about to go back. I have to go back to Foamy.
And Jigglypuff is still one of my favorite cartoons of all time, and it should be, but it's hilarious. Right. The other one I really like on that one, tech
Do
support.
we have Goth Joe?
Goth Joe.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We put Joe Compton's head on one of the goth kids from South Park's body.
That would be awesome.
You know.
Just
Goth
hair
Joe.
coming out from
Just
under the
hair.
hat, you know?
Yeah.
And every time the other one talks, Goth Joe goes, "You guys are a bunch of conformists."
No, see, but then change his voice to go down. Like every time he speaks, is death metal.
You are my conformist, douchebag. Oh God, Death Metal Joe! I love Death Metal Joe.
Yeah, Death Metal Joe.
Death Metal Joe's gonna have his.
I'm here for this.
Yeah.
Death Metal Joe's gonna have a band called AB Positive instead of Typo Negative.
Yeah,
Oh,
Joe.
wow.
Joe, thank you for letting us make fun of you on your show.
This
is
I'm okay with it.
And I haven't even been drinking. I think I'm worse when I'm sober.
No, you're just coherent.
Yeah, that's true. When I'm not drinking baby
You just
bottles
remember
of
what you're
wine.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
When you're sober, you just have to own you're crazy. That's the thing.
Joe.
Right?
yeah. When I'm drunk, I have plausible deniability. Now I'm
Yeah,
sober,
exactly.
so I have no excuse.
Yeah,
And your shirt's still on.
You're crazy.
That's a plus.
Yeah, and my shirt is still on. Yeah. Yeah, don't nobody want to see these chocolate double D's. I tell you what.
Wait, I've seen them though.
Yeah, I know.
But that's the point. You didn't want to, but
I
you
didn't
saw.
want to, but I've seen
The
them.
last Joe's bar was Brian unveiling himself in all his glory.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. That's why it was the last Joe's bar.
What's a good way to take a sabbatical?
Yeah. YouTube sent Joe a letter.
Dear Joe.
Oh, that was horrible.
Kathleen Kennedy was like, "Oh, we need that in Star Wars."
Yeah.
Wooga wa wooga Tolo. Oh, God.
Oh, well,
Jabba the Tan.
So no one's commented for either. We've either traumatized them or they're like, "This is awesome." One or the
Yeah,
other.
This is just-
Rebecca is nonstop, but yeah, she's
She's just throwing out different Joe Compton action
Yeah,
figures.
different jokes to me. Yeah.
Dark Joe. Dark Joe.
Oh.
Right.
God, I'm crying now.
And I think I just saw a comment that everyone has seen Brian nude.
Topless, at least.
Who hasn't seen me topless is what I want to know.
I haven't, but I don't. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right now.
Oh wow.
This is awesome.
I wanted to real quickly, Brian. And again, this is just going to probably be a conversation between you and I apologize to everybody else. But earlier you mentioned that you were playing Madden and that you were trying in your franchise mode to eliminate the team. And I just wanted to mention that you actually picked my all-time favorite team. I am a giant Houston Oilers fan. I would.
You know what?
I followed him all the way through his career in Washington.
I love Warren Moon.
To Houston, and
I love Warren Moon so much. Warren Moon is the greatest quarterback to never be given the respect that he deserves. I mean, if you put his CFL yardage together with his NFL yardage, no one could touch him, not even Drew Brees.
I have a question for Rebecca Jonesy.
Uh-oh.
Why is baby eating psychopath not watching this show himself?
Yeah, seriously. Hey, I'm on the show. Oh, I'm not baby. I mean, I've eaten.
You're not baby eating psychopath.
But I have
Not officially.
Wow.
Not officially.
I learned something new tonight.
But I have eaten a baby.
All those times I've been talking to him.
Yeah, that's totally your husband.
That is awesome.
And I'm a Giants fan for baseball. I'm a Giants fan in Japan for baseball. I'm a Giants fan for baseball in the U.S. But for football, there's only one team that's the greatest team on earth, and that is the Falcons. The Falcons. The Falcons. My brother's a Cowboys fan. The Falcons is the best team. The Falcons. I do like Emmitt Smith though. Emmitt Smith was my hero growing up.
You know what? I love Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Like to death.
I hate to say it. I'm ashamed, almost ashamed because they haven't been good in so long. I've forgotten all about it. I was aligned when Barry Sanders was on the team, and I was like, one day you'll be good again. One day.
One day. Can you imagine if Barry Sanders had Matthew Stafford as his quarterback though? They would have won so many Super Bowls.
He would have no. If he had anything with him,
if he had anything, Barry Sanders didn't even have an offensive line to run behind. Barry Sanders had to do all the work himself.
I'm sitting here like, go sports balls.
Way to go, that local sports team! Yeah. No, I did select the Houston Oilers because a YouTube channel that I was watching, a guy picked the Houston Oilers, and I realized how much I missed the team because the team had a lot of grit. I did, however, decide that the racist Washington Redskins had to go.
Nice.
So I got rid of the Redskins, and I became the Houston Oilers. So now I get to not only have a rivalry with the Dallas Cowboys, but I play them twice every season. So a nice Houston-Dallas rivalry. So.
Okay, so of all the people here, who has their Star Wars tickets already?
I will not watch it. I refuse.
Come on.
I refuse.
You know you will.
No.
Don't give in. When you hear that it's the greatest thing to close a series.
No. I was all set. I was all set to watch it.
I actually can't buy my tickets yet because Sharon is actually getting surgery.
Okay. I need to bow out of this, but I'll give a quick reason why I will not be watching Star Wars Episode 9. It's a very simple reason. It has been tainted by all this fucking drama. It has, and I saw Solo, and there was a lot of drama behind it, and it just. All the drama beforehand and all the drama afterwards, I just got tired of it. So I'm out of Star Wars. Thank you. My hands are clean. So same thing with Marvel movies. I'm washing my hands of the whole thing. I'm done.
Thanks, Scorsese. Scorsese ruined it for everyone.
if I can just bow out of here, I have to take my son to his class.
Yeah, no
Good to
problem.
see you again.
So,
Yep.
nice seeing you guys, everyone else. And then
Nanu.
I was not going to watch Queen because that got tainted for me, but after 6 months and then talking to Joe, who watched it on the plane, then I watched it. So I might watch episode 9 sometime around 2025 or 2030. We'll see. Anyways, you guys have a good one. Joe, drink another beer for me, and I'll see you guys later.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good one. Thanks for being here, man.
So
I can't get my tickets yet because Sharon is having surgery actually
On my
19th.
birthday.
Yeah, on the 19th.
Yeah,
So she has to get her gallbladder taken out.
So for me, it's been a tradition when for Christmas with my sister and I, we see a Star Wars movie at this time. So I don't have my tickets yet this time because she's in Mississauga, Ontario, which is about 3,000 kilometers east of where I am right now. Right?
So 6 miles.
That's by me, kind of.
Yeah, actually, about 4 hours from you, driving wise. About 4 hours.
Well, Ontario is by me. It's a big place, though.
I will vow a vow of silence until everybody has seen it. I'm giving it a 60-day vow of silence in terms of talking about it.
Well, you're going to be doing you're going to be doing the Plotaholic show with us for episode 9.
Am I? I didn't know this. But
yeah, yeah, you were supposed to.
All right, I'm in. Yeah.
I will give the most millennial answer I can and say we like watching movies at home because you can pause to pee.
Fair enough.
And in the movie theater, you're always sitting there like, oh my God, is it a good time? I really got to pee.
I don't drink anything an hour before. I don't
see. That's dedicated movie watching. Me, I'm like soda.
I know I'm going to see it 3 times, so I'll
right. Okay.
Yeah, I will see it. I like I said, this is the one that's going to determine whether the series is a good trilogy or not. I like the first 2 movies. I really feel like they really got to figure out Rey. And I think they kind of blew that opportunity a little bit in the second movie. I really hope they do because it's fine still, but they kind of have to resolve her because the one thing I love about this series over the previous new trilogy, which was Phantom Menace and on, I like these characters. I really do, but I don't, or at least I want to. I can't really say though I have a reason for film school, right? Poe will develop, I'm sure, in the 3rd movie. I'm not sold on him one way or the other, but I mean his arc is progressing. Rey's been the mystery the whole time, and I'm kind of like, okay, you better answer it, and it better be good, or else, what did I watch? And that's kind of how I see it.
For me, the thing that I'm more curious about, and also I'll say that here, is how they invoke Palpatine and they bring him into the fold, and we know he's going to be a part of it. We all know that. That's not a spoiler, but how that happens, and then how they reconcile Leia and everybody's involvement. I mean, this is the end of a childhood for a lot of us, and so that is a delicate balance that you're going to have to navigate. And I can respect. I do trust J.J. Abrams to a certain extent in that process, based upon The Force Awakens. But I haven't trusted him on that based on the Star Trek films and the reboots. But he, in that defense, he was starting from scratch. This is something that he picked up from and ran with the ball. Basically, somebody fumbled the ball. He drove it down the field. If you want to use a sports ball analogy, so I just think that is going to be key for me in this aspect. A lot like when we talked about Avengers and how they were going to reconcile the story ending. That we knew that the story arcs were essentially 3 characters or 4 characters. You really want to. Maybe even 5, if you throw, between Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Black Widow, and maybe the Hulk if you want to do that. But the Hulk and Thor carrying on, so and I don't care if I'm spoiling that for people. Screw you, you should have seen it. It's been a year now.
You had more than enough time to see Endgame.
But,
If it's a spoiler by now.
but that was my major concern.
Whoa.
If you listen to,
That was mean. That was mean.
if you
That
listen
was
to
a
the
little
Paul
aggressive,
Hawks
Brian.
podcast where we previewed the show. We did the Paul Hawks podcast where we previewed the show. That was my major concern. And so I will say it here now. That's my major concern with Star Wars. This is something that's very, 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 very special to a lot of people, myself included, to a certain extent. I'm not as crazy as other people about it. I appreciate it for what it is and how much it meant to me, but I can always let it go. It's not gonna, and if it turns out to be complete dog shit, then that is what it is. It's not gonna make or break me as a person, and I'm not gonna be completely upset about it. I'll be a little upset about it at first, and then I'll get over it.
I'm sick of the toxic fanboys of Star Wars.
Right.
I'm so sick of it.
Bullying
I'm so sick of
POC characters, and
I'm so mad that they ran that beautiful, sweet-hearted young lady off of social
media. It was so cool to see her in the trailer, though.
Yeah. It really was, because I love the character Rose. I love her.
Yeah.
And I loved The Last Jedi. You don't have to agree with me, but I loved The Last Jedi. I thought that it had a lot of character growth. And I still remember when it first came out, I was still working security at a hospital. And one of the guys he was my boss there, but we talked like we were buds. And he really showed how much of like a He-Man, woman-hating racist he was. And I wanted to slap the hell out of him. It's like
Rose was such a genuine character. Like, she was just so relatable, and not just because I'm also Asian, but just as a person, and her what she believed in and what she was going for as a goal. I was just like, yes.
Everything about her, she was the heart of that movie. If Rey was the soul, she was the heart. In my opinion.
So here's the thing. I like the movie, but I wanted to love it, and I couldn't love it. And here's why. Rose was cool. I really loved how I really loved, and man, the name is escaping me right now. When Kyle, I can't remember his name, and it's driving me nuts. Snoke, yeah. That was cool.
Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yeah, I know that was probably my favorite part of the movie, because they inverted what has been done in the previous movies when they did that throne room scene. I really dug that. I enjoyed the introduction of a little bit more who Poe was. I love Finn's evolution. The problem is, and this goes back to what I said, they had an opportunity, I think, to expand Rey's character a lot more than what they did.
Yeah,
and I feel
I can agree with that.
And I feel they dropped the ball.
I think a lot of Luke being there wouldn't have allowed it to have as much impact.
You're right. I understand. They one of the things about this new trilogy, legacy is very important. That's why Han was featured so much in the first movie. That's why Luke was featured so much in the second movie, right? Leia would have been a bigger role in the third movie if she had died. That was the plan. You can see from the arc structure, that was the plan. Was okay. Han had his moment. He bowed out. Replacement. That's who Rey kind of replaced, right? Luke bows out, right? And so Poe comes into the more forefront in that, right? So Leia was gonna bow out in the last movie. That was probably the initial plan. Legacy is a big part of the story. But I feel like here's the thing, right? Like, if you look at the original Star Wars movies, if I describe a character like Han Solo, you have words to go with him, who he is, what he represents. Luke, you know who he is.
Scruffy looking nerve herder.
What? Pardon?
Scruffy looking nerve herder.
Yeah, that's right. Right. But whatever. But whatever. But the thing is, you have reasons to care about all those characters. And the thing, like I said, I want to like all the characters. The one thing I love about this series is it's a very likable. I do not blame any. I think the actors and actresses are the right people in the right parts. I don't think anything is wrong in that end. I think the problem with the second movie is there had to be a forward moment with Rey, and I don't feel there was. I think they put her on.
I don't know that I necessarily agree, though, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Well, I just would say there's a point as a writer looking at Rey's character where you say she doesn't know who she is, so how can she really jump forward in character development in the second movie? I think her moment is coming in the next movie.
I agree. I think so too.
I hope so.
I think this is the thing that I love about this particular stories is that there's magical moments, right? There's these moments that are iconic and epic, and for Rey, I think she had that moment when she raises the rocks.
It happens at the end of her being
realizing that she has this internal power that is beyond anything she's ever experienced in her life. She accepted that. She kind of goes within herself and accepts that, as did Luke.
That moment with her raising the rocks at the end too is also the moment where she's like not relying on Luke. The whole movie, she's been kind of saying Luke is going to be my backup, or Luke is going to be the one who ultimately saves it in the end. I'm just here. I'm learning what I can.
Luke's sidekick, and now she's like, no.
And at the end of the movie, that's when she's like, can't be on him. It's on me, and I'm just going to do it.
I agree with Josh to an extent that they did blow like the whole idea. Like they've kept it so vague about who she really is and what she really.
And I'm glad they did.
I feel like okay. The cool thing about when you look at Empire Strikes Back, and no, this is not a fair comparison. I know that, right? Okay. What both movies have in common, I had this conversation with Kevin Weir on my podcast. What both movies have in common is one of the big themes of the second movie of Last Jedi is failure. Like every character fails in every way. Same with Empire Strikes Back. Like every character fails in that movie on some level.
Yes.
Right. But I think the part that really cool part about the second movie was the reveal of Vader going, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to his father. Like that was such a big moment.
Yeah.
Right. That was such a big moment. Now it added a level of complexity to his rivalry. Vader's no longer now just a guy. He's a guy with history, just like everybody else, right? I look at, again, it's not fair to compare both movies. It really is not. Empire is a better movie. There's no argument.
Empire is the movie.
Yeah,
but you ask any Star Wars fan, will tell you Empire and everything else.
Yeah, right. But here's the thing, right? This is the middle movie, and the same thing. And there's a lot of actually, there are a lot of similarities.
There's tons.
There's tons of them, right? Absolutely. So if you're gonna, it's apt to compare them. Rey didn't have that. Okay, why am I doing this?
Yeah,
I thought Luke, right? And that's the part, I think that needs to be answered. They could have in this movie, right? And then that's kind of my opinion on it. I don't think it's a bad movie. I do, again, my favorite line in the movie is Luke going, "What do you expect me to come in with my lightsaber and do everything?" And that's exactly how it ends. I'm like, "Oh, you got it. That was good." I like a lot of things about the.
See, my favorite scene is the rocks. My favorite scene is when he said,
but again, I like the movie. I don't want people to misunderstand. It's not like I hate it. I just feel like they missed an opportunity.
They could have done more.
Yeah.
I think in the Rise of Skywalker, when that big reveal comes, we're gonna look back at these two movies and we're gonna be like, it was in front of us the whole time.
And I hope so.
It will.
Legitimately hope so.
I don't know. I feel like if they would have put more in the second movie, then there would have been too much going on, and it would have been distracting. And I feel like there's a certain amount of fan service that people wish was going on, and it's like this is supposed to be about making a good story. It's supposed to be new. You're not supposed to really say it. It's not like the other movie. Like the point is, this is a new chapter to an old story. Yes, there's going to be parallels because history repeats itself, but you can't expect the same plot point by plot point, beat by beat, big reveal as previous movies.
And I don't want it.
Because then you'd be complaining it's so predictable and,
No, I love the throne scene. I love the throne scene. Right? Anyway, sorry. I'm jumping.
No, I was gonna say I have this argument a lot with people who didn't like Endgame but liked Infinity War, and I think it's the same concept with Last Jedi and what's going to happen here, is that if Last Jedi had been like Infinity War, would then Rise of Skywalker let you down? And I think that there's a certain aspect that the last film has to bring you up and not let you down. And I think that people, well, first off, fandom is crazy and
yes, no, absolutely.
But Infinity War, there is the argument that Infinity War had that exactly what you're talking about, the Empire Strikes Back kind of feel to it, where it was doom and gloom and everything ended so badly and sad and everybody failed and then we get into Endgame and they try to correct the failure right off the bat and
they still failed, which I thought was really good.
But I think that you're gonna lose either way. So this might be, as Brian said, we might look back on this and go, there was a method to this madness. Ryan Johnson is not a bad filmmaker.
He's amazing. He did an amazing
Anybody who
job.
says that is never seen anything that Ryan Johnson's done. And I implore you to go see Brick, and I implore you to go see Looper, and I'm definitely going to tell you to go see Knives Out when it comes out. But I'm going to tell you right now, Ryan Johnson is an incredible filmmaker, and there was a whole reason to this. He didn't do this to piss off Disney. He didn't do this despite what everybody else thinks. He did this because him and J.J. Abrams came up with a plan, and J.J. Abrams is going to dunk this ball and finish it.
It's like J.J. Abrams brought the ball down the court. He passed it to Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson set up the play, and now he's put it up for Abrams to alley-oop. There's a sports ball analogy for you.
Sports ball, yeah.
What do you think about that, Josh?
I hope so. I don't want this to be the wrong way. I sincerely hope that's how it goes. I really, really do. But again, looking at the second movie in the third and going into the third, that is my only concern, right? Right. I would be lying if I said like I'm 100% confident. I'm not. But
I will say this: at least you didn't get a cursed child in your fandom.
Yes.
Like Star Wars is amazing, it's awesome, but it's not like I'm super obsessed with it.
I think there's Harry Potter fans among us here. I don't.
Harry Potter, and then they come out with that bullshit. Like, I
haven't read it. I have no desire to read it. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist for me.
Complete crap.
So let me ask you guys this though: what's your over/under that Rey is a clone of Palpatine?
I would give it 40-60. I think there's something else underlying.
Brad Meltzer's theorized since the very beginning that she's related to Palpatine in some way or another. I'm not going to be shocked if this was actually the case.
Yeah.
It makes less sense, actually, right? Because actually, funny thing, if you look at it, the only real true Skywalker who actually is a badass is Leia.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's the only real badass of the Skywalkers. If you no, because seriously, her plan.
No, you're right.
Yeah, right.
She don't miss.
And she's.
I mean, all the other.
I'm gonna spoil this right now. I know this for a fact. And it's not something because I know it. I just know it because I know how plots go. Leia is the one that trains her as a Jedi. I'm just telling you that right now.
Yeah,
it wouldn't shock
me. Oh, that would be fabulous.
No, it wouldn't shock me at all because honestly, like Leia is probably the toughest character in the series. Like that was in that
really is.
I saw the best meme ever, and it was explaining why Leia was a Slytherin.
Well, you look at her. She survived the torture droid much longer than other people and just like recovered. Yeah. She doesn't miss when she shoots. And she strangled a mob boss while wearing a bikini.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm a princess? No, I'm a motherfucking general.
And she was stuck in the cold vacuum of space and she used the Force to save herself. If that don't equal badass, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
Let me spit this theory at you guys. Let me spit this theory, okay? This is a theory that I personally have. I haven't seen it. I've seen it in a couple places. Let me put it that way. But I think that the true clone of Palpatine is Finn.
Ooh.
And I say that from the last trailer when he's able to use the Force to find them on the Death Star. He's the only one else that's on the Death Star, and he finds them. but you can see that he finds them. He kind of gives that away, and I think that's.
I seriously think Finn is force sensitive.
Because he was a stormtrooper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those by nature
stormtroopers were clones.
Yeah.
I seriously, Finn is force sensitive. They just didn't have a chance to do a lot of it yet. But he is force sensitive. Later, Mike. Because I'm serious. Finn actually was able to stand up a little bit to a member of the Skywalker bloodline. He didn't last long, but he lasted longer than anyone else would have. He's force sensitive. It's just no one knows it.
He's my favorite character of the new characters. Because he automatically.
I agree.
He's a brave guy. Like, he's really brave because he was surrounded by, like, he was raised in a very, very dark scenario, and he knew it was wrong, and he did something about it. As scared as he is, I mean, he could still be running. He's not. He's facing it head on. I admire that.
And a shout out, and Josh, you said it a little bit ago, but shout out to Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaacs, because they are amazing at their craft. They are so good.
We're well over the time limit, so let's do this. Cheers to a hopeful good Star Wars and hopeful great ending to this series. And
here's hoping you don't face a cattle prod, man.
You guys on Monday.
But thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And with that, Joe's Bar is now closed.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.